Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to The Combo. It's me and Juju today. It's a special day for us today, y'all. Today, we are going to be remembering 9/11, the victims, the whole situation, and we want to say, just never forget. Juju, I know this is important to you, sis. Can you explain why you wanted to do a video in regards to this specific day?
I'm from New York, if everyone doesn't know, and every year I feel like people are forgetting, even in New York. So
Oh,
I
yeah?
wanted, oh yeah. So I wanted to, I asked you, I said, please, can we, you wanted to do one anyway, but I was like, please put me on. Like, I need to talk about New York. I need to talk about 9/11 and not necessarily what just happened, but I want to make people not forget, because that was the most horrible day in history for America, for New York, and really for other nations as well. And it's like every year people are forgetting, companies are forgetting, and
Wow.
it's not fair. I want to honor the victims, and there are still victims today that we should honor as well.
And Juju, you say that people are forgetting. I want to touch on that. So, what do you see like from back at that time when it happened, and today? What do you see that they're forgetting? Like it's just less
Ugh.
on people's minds. It's not really put out there. What do you see that makes you think that they're forgetting about it being on the East Coast?
When it happened, you just walked down the street, and if you didn't know somebody, you knew them. It was like, I can't even explain it. You just felt like your friend died, and you knew each other and you never met this person. You strangers were friends. Strangers came together.
Wow.
We looked at policemen, firemen, paramedics. We looked at them so different. We honored them so much. We had so much respect for them. And obviously, look at today. Look what's going on today when it comes to us loving ourselves, us loving this country, and us honoring, our heroes. They're forgotten. To me, that's what it seems like, on this end. And New York is where it happened, so I would expect it to still stay here. But people think, well, it was 21 years ago. It doesn't really need to be talked about or spoken about, and it does. This is history that we lived, and we should never let this happen again. And we should never forget those people and those times. Now you can't walk down the street and look at somebody in the face. It's,
Wow.
it's sad.
Okay. Well, next question I want to get to you and ask you and the viewers: where were you when 9/11 happened? Audience, please answer in the comments. Juju, you're on the East Coast. Where were you? And can you give us that memory of you on this infamous day in history?
So every year when 9/11 rolls around, maybe not so much recently, because I mentioned that people more and more don't talk about it. Everyone's question this time of the year is, where were you? It is like it is probably the most asked question in New York, especially if they say you're from New York, especially the first 10 years of living here afterwards. I was in school, I was in high school, and in my high school, we had TVs. And, we would watch TV, which I thought was weird for a place like this, but that's what they do up here. So we had the TV on. We walked into, I think it was our second classroom of the day. And I remember sitting down and I'm looking at the TV, and I'm ignorant when it came to stuff, because I didn't really watch TV growing up. We didn't have like cable and all that stuff. So I sat down, I'm looking, and I'm like, what movie is this? And the kids around me looked at me, and they hit me, and they're like, Juju, this is live. And I went, live? What is it? What do you mean? What's live? I didn't even know what live meant. And I was like, the movie's called Live. And then I saw the second plane hit, and I went, oh, that's messed up. That's intentional. Because I knew that kind of stuff. But they were like, no, Juju, this is New York City. Because I wasn't familiar with the Twin Towers, and I knew what it looked like, but I didn't. All the buildings in New York are tall, beautiful skyscrapers. So I'm just sitting there like, oh my gosh, that's in New York City. My family, I have family, I had friends. My friend's family work down there. That's where almost all of them work. So my mouth dropped. I called my family somehow, I think through the school, and we went home. We did not stay us at least didn't stay in the school. We came home. By the time we came home, Nino, we turned the TV on and the buildings were collapsing. And my heart, like, I will never forget that feeling, because I just kept saying, there are people there. There are people, and how do we help them? How do we get them out? What's the aftermath of this? who did this? Like, what's going on? The other stuff didn't even dawn on me, but that's where I was. And that's a question I'd love to know from everybody, because everybody is not from New York. And I know a lot of our listeners are from around the country. I'd love to know in the comments, guys, where were you? What did you feel and where were you when this happened? And what did you feel about New York?
Awesome. Thank you, sis, for sharing that. I guess my next question is the stats. We like to provide stats and facts over here. So, Juju, hit us with some statistics on this day and anything that you think the audience needs to know about.
So that day, just on 9/11 alone, there were 4 planes and there were 4 different locations. So you had the North Tower, the South Tower, the Pentagon, and what was supposed to be the White House, but that really hasn't been clear if that's really where it was supposed to go. But that plane was taken down. So you had all those people within the planes, as well as the people at the Pentagon passed away as well. So there was over 2,900, closer to 3,000, about 2,996 people died that day. 343 were firemen and paramedics. There was 23 police officers and 37 Port Authority police, and the 19 hijackers. But they were suicidal, so for them it didn't matter. But and I don't want to talk about them either. We're here to honor, the people who died. What people don't know is that since then, people are still dying from 9/11. And I want to also talk about them too, because they're also a lot of heroes, and it's like they're forgotten too. And it hurts my heart, because I met one of my clients, her husband perished in January. He was a fireman who volunteered to go down there for weeks, if not months. And he just passed away from cancer due to respiratory issues and having cancer in his lungs from the 9/11 cleanup.
Let's touch on that real quick. So a lot of people might not know, a lot of these people ran towards this action, right? And it was just, a lot of dust, debris, stuff in the air, basically, right? And people got cancer. Can you touch on that? What exactly was it? And you have the facts on that?
Yeah. So, okay. So the building damage for 9/11, just for the towers, were about $60 billion. And to clean it up, the debris and Ground Zero itself cost about $750 million. And you had, I want to say it was about 410,000. So let's just say 420,000 people who volunteered throughout the country. And even I think in other countries, they came and wanted to help out. They wanted to find any survivors. They wanted to find any of the bodies, because they wanted to honor these people in a burial. And they wanted, or any type of remains, to be honest. They wanted to find a wallet, a shoe, anything that linked a person to this. There was just, God, I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional thinking about like everything. What people didn't know when this happened was that what was in the air with the dust particles and the chemicals, the steel, everything was toxic. They maybe knew, but to what extent? You had people where the building literally pretty much fell on them, and there's a woman called the Dust, I think she's the Dust Lady or Dust Woman, and she's covered in smoke, like powder, like looks like ash, covered in ash. And there's an iconic picture of her, and iconic in a bad way, unfortunately. And she died 7 years ago, I want to say, from stomach cancer. So a lot of these people from like 2011 started getting sick, started getting respiratory issues, even before that, to be honest, but they had to fight to say, listen, we got sick helping everybody and we need compensation. And so these people fought for it, and they thankfully got it. There's been over 4,000 people to this day that have died from cancer. And there's going to be thousands more that are going to die within the next decades due to this, because, they went down there, they didn't have the right masks, they didn't have the right equipment, and they were just cleaning. Guys, it took forever to clean that up. And people who worked down there, people who lived down there. It wasn't just the 400,000+ volunteers. It was so many people. So this really affected a lot of people.
Well, you got to think about it. Who's going to really be thinking about wearing a mask, at this time? They're going to go out there to go
Right.
help somebody. Of course, we know the conspiracies are out there, ladies and gentlemen, but we're not going to touch too much on that because, like I said, I have my opinion about what happened. But then again, I'm not too well versed in this, and I'm not going to put my opinion as fact or, what I'm saying, nothing like that. So, can you touch on that real quick, sis? The conspiracies just went wild. Can you touch on that aspect of the whole situation?
There was so many conspiracies as to who did it, why they did it, but it wasn't until like the families and the friends who wanted answers, and the regular people, the American people who wanted protection, wanted to know what happened. So within doing that, they were digging, and they wanted to know where these people came from, what their intentions were. People would blame the government, which, I'll be honest, I blame the government. I think this is the government's fault because they never protected us the way they should have. I look at it like they got insurance after the effect. It's too late. So, and you can't go back. You can't change that. So, there are people saying that the planes weren't real. I know people who were there, and those planes were real. Everyone's going to say what they're going to say. I've heard worse. I've heard that even Trump did this, like, which is so far fetched because in a few, we're going to discuss how much he helped that blue state, I should say. And it's a shame. And I get it. Like, we want to believe conspiracy theories because we want the answers. But there have been several conspiracy theories that have been debunked. I think one of them was like the plane and the metal. There's actual architects that went and they showed you, like, of course, the temperature, but it does weaken it. Like, you have to understand in the state of what those buildings were and how that happened, and there's stuff on YouTube that you can even find as well. But there are ones that are debunked. And there's ones that are questionable, and people did hear certain things. Like, if you heard some videos, there was some police and firemen that said that we heard a big bang. There was a big bang. So maybe there was more to it, or why the seventh building fell. Like, there's always going to be conspiracy theories because people rather have an answer than not.
Yeah, and we would rather, kind of stay clear from that. I don't know what YouTube's policies are with this. They get you for anything. So it's wild, y'all. The conspiracies are out there, and I'm a conspiracy theorist at heart. But at the same time, y'all, I think a lot of these unfounded truths, or some things that are not fully researched. I don't know how to say it, y'all. Some stuff is rather better left unsaid because it just adds to the confusion, and confusion is of the devil. So that's why I'm kind of holding my part from what I think happened. Again, I only have opinion, and I don't have nothing that's just solid facts. And I'll be honest. Real quick, sis, we'll talk about Trump in a minute. The war, the weapons of mass destruction. You want to touch on those aspects?
Yeah, so we went to war with because somebody said that the money and the funding came from these places, and they were told that there was weapons of mass destruction in like Iraq, and that they would sell more weapons, which I thought was strange because didn't they do this with a box cutter and knives? So okay, but now they're going to use weapons of mass destruction. So we decided to invade Iraq, and we succeeded on invading them. But so to this date, there still have not been any weapons of mass destruction that have been found. But there are some facts. There have been over 7,000 soldiers from 2001 to 2018 who have died due to the Iraqi war, and over 4,300 who died in Afghanistan because we have to obviously go there as well. And there's still no proof, and there's no answers for those deaths and for those families. So 9/11 didn't just affect the one day. 9/11 is still continuing. This was an ongoing terrorist act, and that's why I want people not to forget.
Good point, because we're sending a lot of money over there. We lost trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
Good point, sis. I never
Yep.
thought about it like that. Like, we're still, feeling the after effects of 9/11. And good points. Very interesting. Let's go ahead and go to Trump. A lot of people, of course, don't like President Trump. We back him. You found out a lot of interesting facts about what he did in this whole time frame. Can you go ahead and share the facts of Trump? And this is not to be biased, y'all, but this is pretty interesting for the person that a lot of people cannot stand, what he actually did for New York City and this whole situation. Go ahead, sis.
Everyone knows that Donald Trump is from New York. If you're a New Yorker, you knew Donald Trump, especially if you were in the city. Trump Towers. The man was a mogul in architect. The guy is, whether you like him or not, you have to give him props. When 9/11 happened, and he was also down there, there are pictures floating around as well. So It's true. It's not like it's made up. He was down there himself in his suit. I don't remember any famous people. Like, I mean, I maybe a few, but I don't remember famous people or even politicians that really went down there. I don't remember seeing Biden. Hasn't he been around for a long time? And I'm not trying to make this political, but I need New York to wake up and understand this, because America's strong because of their values. And this man, and I found this out myself. When I found out, I was so emotional. I said, wow, like, I want people to know this. When 9/11 happened, and there was a fund, and I'm going to have to read it for you guys, okay? From 2001 to 2004, over $7 billion in compensation was given to families of 9/11, and 2,680 people injured in the attacks. Funding was renewed on January 2nd, 2011, when President Obama signed the Health and Compensation Act into law. And then they explained briefly why, because the police officer got sick due to cancer, and they started realizing people are getting sick and dying. Oh no, we need to create a fund for these people, because, you know, they died because of a terrorist attack, because they messed up. America messed up and didn't protect our country. So in 2015, the funding for the treatment for 9/11 related illness was renewed for 5 more years at a total of $7.4 billion. The Victim Compensation Fund was set to expire, or set to stop accepting claims in December of 2020. So they were going to stop accepting it, meaning, like, if you got cancer after, now keep in mind, guys, cancer's in all of us, but sometimes depending on your atmosphere, you know, whatever the case, some people just don't go to the doctor. You know, they could have had cancer all this time, who knows. On July 29th, 2019, then President Trump signed a law authorizing support for the September 11 Victim Compensation Fund through 2092. 2092, guys, that's over 70 years from today. So think about that. I mean, everyone who's been affected, it has been, like, that was there, had to have been over at least the age of 20, right? If you're on the plane, if you're working in the building, they'll most likely be dead before that age. So when I heard that, it blew my mind. But then this is what made me so upset. And this is why I don't know how New York is a blue state. Previously, administrations had cut benefits up to 70%. That means before Trump, they cut the benefits of these people 70%. Y'all know who the presidents were prior. So New York City, especially, because they're very, very blue, wake up. This man loved you before he was president, during presidency, and after presidency. I was like in tears. I said, this guy actually is shamed all the time, and he's helping America. He's helping New York. He's helping people pass the time. If this was me, I'd be so happy that I don't have to worry about an extension and then it cutting off at a certain time. You know, these people, I hope that this is a wake-up call for New York. So that's all I wanted to say about that. I'm sorry, I'm just really upset.
Wow, very interesting. The police and firefighters, just touch on that real quick. We look at them as heroes. You know, a lot of them are heroes, but it's a whole different atmosphere between now and then. Can you touch on, you know, them then and them now?
Oh, it was like celebrities. I remember the celebrities didn't matter. They were the heroes. I remember like, not necessarily the memes, but the stuff that you would see on, like, Facebook that said, like, Kobe, I forget, I think it was like, Kobe Bryant isn't a hero, this is a hero. Or, like, you know, some famous person isn't a hero, this person's a hero. And they would show you these people. And, you know, today's police are not 20 plus years ago's police. Firemen, maybe. I think the firemen haven't changed, because I know so many firemen and they're the same. But, you know, police were honored back then. And, you know, today it's not the case. I mean, it's the whole country. It's how it's set up. And it took until something like 9/11 to happen. I mean, prior to it was fine. And then it's like people forgot that these brave people, while it was falling, were running into these buildings. You know, they knew that they were going to meet their maker. And there are stories that I know personally of police who did make it, and they said that their friend just ran in there. I know true stories. There are actually movies made up of these people, and I know them through friends whose policemen that were stuck under an elevator shaft. And it's like, These people went in there trying to help, you know. It's just so, it's so different. Now you look at a police officer and you don't know what you're going to get from them. And now in New York City, you know, they were not even following the Constitution. They were arresting people who weren't, you know, masked and stuff. We look at them different. I look at them different. You know, 2021, I saw one, I would hug one. I'd say, thank you. And they didn't even have anything to do with it, but everybody would go down there. You volunteered on the days off and you would just help recovery. Like you knew somebody who was going down there. Now, would they do that? Can they do that? It's just different. It's like night and day, unfortunately.
Wow, very interesting. Guys, as we wind this down, we just wanted to bring this up that we never want to forget what happened. We want to honor the lives of all those that were lost in this tragic situation. Juju, any other talking points you want to hit before we end the segment of remembering 9/11?
Well, I do want to mention something that maybe a lot of people don't know. After 9/11, Americans didn't feel safe. We wanted answers and we wanted this to never happen. I'm not sure, maybe if you're not from New York, you didn't remember it so much, but there was levels of, what were they called? It was called like alerts, I guess. Red, yellow, green. We were on the like yellow to red zone alert, like for activity for years. And we're going, what is that? What is that? Because you couldn't go to Times Square. Like everything was just like security beyond security beyond security. I know, guys, think about this. Times Square is like literally millions of people go there. They're armed, trained. They have the stuff that they need to take people out if they need to. You know what I mean? But when this happened, this was something completely new. So Bush didn't know what to do. He was at a loss. So about a year later, he created the Department of Homeland Security. They were created. And Homeland Security's responsibility is preventing terror attacks. Also for border security, maybe not today, immigrations, customs, relief, and I think prevention, if I'm not mistaken. That's their job. As of now, that's their job. Do they do any of that now? I mean, we forget. We forget that these people came here, right? These 19 plus hijackers, because I think there was a lot more than that, came to this country with fake passports, fake socials, which is why the Patriot Act was created as well by Bush. It's legal spying. And they put these people, they said, okay, this happened because we weren't ready. So they created the Patriot Act. They created the Homeland Security about a year later. The Patriot Act was like right after, but Homeland Security's job then was like, okay, this is what we're going to pay these people to do. And this is never going to happen again. And look where we are in 2022. We have people flooding the border and we know nothing about these people, not a damn thing. And people forget, you know, you want to let everybody in, but you let 19 people in. And they use box cutters and knives. And if you have a problem with that, I just ask you, go and listen to some of these recordings of these people leaving final messages to their families. You know, I'm okay with people coming here the right way. But what's going on now? Homeland Security is not doing their job. This also kind of segues to like currency and money, because he created the Patriot Act, because what that does is like, okay, Nino wants to open an account with a bank. We want all your information. If you're sending money to high-risk countries, we need to know, because there were conspiracies that this money came from Saudi Arabia. And, you know, there's a lot of different stuff. We don't know where this money came from. So money's sort of going away because everything's digital and everything's electronic. So, and we're not even realizing that it's really started because of 2001, because no banks or no government officials really want to deal with cash, because even though their serial numbers are on cash, you could still give people cash under the table. You don't know who it's going to. So they kind of want to do everything electronic, unfortunately. And it's not good for people who do accept cash or who still like cash. I like cash. I'm not into the digital stuff, even though people might think the way they think. But there are just things that have happened and progressed since 2001. And a lot of people didn't even know that. Like, people are like, what's Homeland Security? It's like, well, it started because of 2001. And we have to remind people that Homeland Security should be at that border with those Border Patrol agents and finding out, because it's going to be another 9/11 anywhere. It could be Cali next. It could be Florida. It could be a small place, just to prove a point. And they're going to do more damage because they're crossing the border and we don't even know who they are. I've seen it. CIA agents who had classified documents, who knew that there were proof of some of these hijackers that did come through, the border. They did have their eye on them. They knew where these people lived. They did know what their names were. But the ones that are coming through the border, they know nothing about. They're just dropping them off wherever they want. And I have a problem with that because they're not coming here the right way. And I'm from New York, where I didn't forget 9/11. So that's the only other, topic that I wanted to talk about, or just, let people know about.
Awesome. Very interesting, sis, because this whole thing just spreads into, so many different subjects that we can touch on. Again, we are here today honoring those that lost their lives on 9/11. Juju was very passionate about making this content for everybody, y'all. Please, if anything, just, remember them, give them a little honor. If anything, talk to your kids about it. And just we need to learn from this, y'all, because this is very monumental, even though it happened 20 years ago. Really, that's not that long ago, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? But we seem to forget, in this day and age of a microwave society. And that's just the way it is. With that, Juju, just final words on the whole situation before we end this segment of remembering 9/11.
They renamed September 11th to Patriot Day. And I just think that Patriot Day should be every day. Love, respect, and honor your country. And pray for everybody alive who passed away, and even your enemies, guys, because tomorrow's not promised. There are very bad people in this world, and they want to do bad things. So stay blessed.
Amen. Thank you, sis. With that, y'all, we're going to end this segment of remembering 9/11. Never forget. God bless everybody watching, and let us know in the comments what you think, y'all. And again, where were you at on this infamous day, should I say? You're an American, you're a patriot, you got grit, act like it. God bless.